Crew. My name is Alex.
Alexander.
And this is Paul.
I'm going to be predicting the award races for baseball, but first, we wanted to talk fight a little bit. The fight is currently tomorrow. Depends when you're listening to this. Is Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Winning, I have Mike Tyson knocking out Jake Paul, and I hope he does in the first 5 seconds. What's on it? You guys take over.
Okay. Mike Tyson is 58 years old. He has 58 fights, 50 wins. He has not won since 2003. He has 6 losses and 2 no contests. He started fighting professionally at the age of 18. To this day, he is the youngest boxer ever to win the heavyweight title. He was 20 years, 4 months, and 22 days old when he won it. Jake Paul is 27 years old. He has 11 fights, 10 wins, 1 loss, 7 knockouts, 3 decisions. The 1 loss was by decision. Now, what's interesting is by time Mike Tyson was the age of Jake right now, he already had over 45. And Mike Tyson did not have a loss until his 38th fight. And that was what is some people consider one of the most controversial, biggest upsets ever in boxing. And that was when Buster Douglas beat him. But up till that point, there was another stat that I wanted to read about some of his fighting that is absolutely unbelievable. So let me read it here. Tyson won his first 19 professional fights by knockout, 12 of them in the first round. So my prediction is about this fight that because of his age only, am I going to say this, that if he doesn't beat him in the first 4 rounds, then Jake Paul has a chance. But that's the only way he has a chance because Mike Tyson is going to come out like a bull in a china closet. And I love your 5 seconds. I don't think it's going to be that, but I
That's
would
what I'm
love to see
hoping
it
for.
happen.
Not predicting.
I would
That's
love
what I'm hoping for.
I would love to see it in the first round. The other thing about Jake Paul is most of his fights have been against either not even fighters, like one of them was a basketball player, and some people that were like white collar type boxers. Some of his boxing has been against MMA boxers, so they're not even straight boxers, they're MMA boxers. Mike Tyson's fights, almost all of them have been against pro fighters. Matter of fact, some of his first wins were against people that went on to win golds in the Olympics, or they had already won golds and he beat them. So it's like, when you compare how much ring time there is there and how much knowledge there is of actually what's going to happen in a ring, there's not even a comparison here. It's not even fair. Okay, so my prediction would be no matter how many rounds it's going to be, I really don't care. Uh, If it's not within the first 4 rounds of Mike Tyson putting him down, then Jake Paul then has a chance. I'm not even still going to say he's going to win. I'm just saying he then has a chance. Okay. But I would still predict Mike Tyson within the first 2 rounds is going to have him knocked out.
All right, so I like to tell this story a little bit about how I first started watching Mike Tyson because it was purely by accident. I was hanging out with my best friend, Dante, back in Port Jefferson, Long Island, New York. We had spent the summer working out, taking martial arts, and it's kind of funny. We were just kind of hanging out and watching the Rocky 3 movie. And as we're watching this, we're kind of like saying like nobody fights like this. This is kind of like this is fake. Like it's cool looking, but it'd be cool if fighters could really fight like that. And when it was over, we had seen it several times at that point. We flipped on over to ESPN Boxing, and we saw this young kid, Mike Tyson, as a heavyweight, fighting just like those guys were fighting in the fake movie. The speed, the power, we were both blown away. He was a very young fighter at that point. At that point in his career, Mike Tyson was fighting every 2 weeks on ESPN. He was doing some strange thing that they created for him to, every 2 weeks he was fighting another opponent. And so we started getting together and videotaping all these fights. And that's how I started watching him very early in his career and watching him knock guys out. I've never seen anything like it for a guy that size to be able to fight the way he fought, never getting tired, and coming at you full steam ahead all the time. I could point out a lot of different things throughout his career, but I don't want to make this an hour-long video. This is bringing back a lot of nostalgia to see Mike Tyson step back in the ring for me, and I like Jake Paul. He's an interesting character, but I think he loses this fight against Mike Tyson. I've been watching some of the workout videos, and the shape that he is in right now, see Jake Paul beating him. Mike is going to come out like a ferocious lion, and he doesn't stop. When he starts, he does not stop. So Jake Paul's going to have to land something huge to put Mike Tyson down, and I still think he gets back up and attacks him. So my prediction is Mike Tyson, first round.
Wow.
But I think that one of the things that's also really neat is the historical relevance to this fight. Prior to what we're about to see tomorrow night is it's going to be first of all the biggest age gap between two professional fighters in the history of the sport. The previous record was held in 1963, and I thought this was kind of interesting. The boxer Archie Moore was at age 49 taking on a 25-year-old. His name was Ted DiBiase. He was a world WWE wrestler, and he wasn't a boxer. And this is not the Ted DiBiase that some of you may know. I'm trying to remember what his nickname was.
$1 Million Man.
$1 Million Man. Thank you. Yes, this was his father, adopted father, but it was his father back in 1963, and it was a 24-year gap. This is going to be bigger than that. This will break that record, and we all know that Oh, okay. So it's Mike DiBiase, who was the father of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and both wrestlers. And I just find that fascinating that there's this link to history with the biggest gap, and it dates back to 63, and then that has ties into wrestling from the 90s with the $1 Million Man. I just think that's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing this. And again, I think Mike Tyson, from the videos I watched, he still looks like a ferocious beast, and I think he takes out Jake Paul in the first round.
Tyson?
Yes.
Do we out?
Yes.
I really hope so. I think it's going to happen. I really hope it does. And they just walk up to each other. Tyson throws one punch. It's done. I would love that so much.
Yeah, I'm going to ask one more scenario question. Does Tyson take another fight after this?
No.
It would depend who it is and depend on the circumstances. But it would have to be like a perfect scenario for Tyson. I don't think he does.
I think so either. Once he's done this, that's over. He's
That's
got
whether
nothing
he
to prove. He
wins.
still has nothing to prove. But if he does this, comes out and takes out this bigger, taller, younger opponent, well, what else has he got to prove?
He has anything to prove even taking this fight.
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it.
Either he's still the baddest man on the planet, like they say.
Slapped it in.
Yeah,
Yes, he
I don't
did.
really know why that. I guess I could look into that. When I saw that, thought it was very strange. Okay.
We lost all our baseball listeners. Let's get to baseball. So the first award races that we're going to cover today is going to be Manager of the Year. In the American League, we have 3 managers that are the finalists, all from the same division. We Hinch's Tigers, Matt Farrow's Royals, and Stephen Voigt's Guardians. Now, Paul mentioned you in a previous episode that you already had your picks, and I'm wondering who you got.
I have Hinch with Detroit. I feel like Detroit's come a long way, and I know the Guardians have also come a long way, but I feel like that Detroit has come further up the road and has more potential for even next year. And so I'm going with AJ Hinch.
AJ Hinch.
Exactly.
Who do you got?
Well, actually, I'd like to hold off on my prediction on that because I'd like you to tell that comeback story.
2017 Astro scandal. Um, even did
Right?
this interview that was just explaining the whole thing, and the Tigers gave him a chance back into baseball after Hinch's suspension ended, and the first winning season he's had as a Tigers manager.
Yeah, I think that's a great story. Um, so it draws a lot of intrigue. However, I'm going to go with Kansas City Royals manager Matt Quatraro. How do you say that? But anyway, I think what he's done with the Royals, bringing them to the point that he brought them to, I'm going to say he's going to take it over AJ Hinch. Because I think the AJ Hinch thing it might weigh in the baseball writers' minds. I mean, it's a number thing, and numbers can outweigh a lot, but I have a feeling they go with Matt instead, just for that reason.
I agree with both of you.
Yeah.
Vogue. And that's a few reasons. Paul episode we talked about how catchers can make great managers. Former catch, first managerial job, first year.
It's true.
The division that these teams are all in. Statistic as to why this one thing specifically, I think, is why Steven of these teams is the White Sox out of the equation, because these teams got to play the White Sox, the worst team ever now, more than any other team in the league. Record out of these teams' records, and the Royals are under 500.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's a legitimate thing to bring into play here.
The Tigers and the Royals are over 500 is their records against the White Sox. The Kansas City Royals in 2024 were 12-1 against the Chicago White Sox. Tigers 3 against the Chicago White Sox. The Clevelands were 8-5 against the Chicago White Sox. They are the only team still over 500 out of these three teams.
Well, like
Wow.
I said, even Vogt from the Cleveland Guardians is going to be manager of the year.
Well, that's a great insight, and I believe you got it right there. You just now nailed it.
Both of you switching
No, I'm
your
still gonna
picks.
go with my hint. I like your insight. That's a great thing to say.
That's off.
That's really digging deep. I like it.
As long as the baseball writers are picking up on that same statistic, I think you nailed that one.
So we have
Well, if they'll listen to our podcast, they would know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not only if they listen to our podcast, but if they listen to our podcast and enjoyed Cheez Its Extra Toasty, then they would definitely know.
sponsorship. You're gonna get us taken down. So NL managers of the year: Los Mendoza, Pat Murphy. So with the Mets, Pat Murphy with the Brewers, and Mike Shildt with the Padres. Sir, your thoughts?
I would go Carlos Mendoza with the Mets. Um, I mean, Mike Shildt with the Padres. They have a lot of stars on that team. It's been a team that's been underperforming for some time now, but I mean, yeah, they had a great year this year. Um, I like what Carlos Mendoza has done with the Mets to bring them where as far as he brought them. And I would just take that over the Brewers, Pat Murphy, even though he did a really good job with the Brewers, considering all the players that he lost in the offseason. But I would go Carlos Mendoza.
Paul?
I have the same pick, even though I'm not a Mets fan. I will simply say that he got them further than anybody predicted for even the postseason. and I feel like that they're not just the comeback team of this year, but they have potential going into next year. And Mendoza's my pick.
For the Mets coming into the year, were telling us that they're gearing up for 2025, being a playoff team this year. No one was expecting this. No one was expecting them to make the playoffs. They did have a great year. Out of these three managers, only one of them won their division, and that would be Pat Murphy with the Brewers, who lost best piece going into the year. Pat Murphy with the job when Council left for the Chicago Cubs, getting actually a big contract for a manager to manage Cubs, and then Pat Murphy still went out and won to the division. I've been up in the air about this one, especially Corbin Burns, and still improve. I think they actually did better this year than they did last year. Not 100% certain
Yeah,
on
I
it
agree.
though, but that's to be where they were. No one expected them to get 89 wins this year. I actually agree with both of you. I'm going Carlos Mendoza, Manager of the Year. You guys.
We don't like either.
Next, we have the Rookie of the Year category. We started off in the AL, so let's switch to the NL for this one. Uh, we have Jackson Churio, Jackson Merrill, and Paul Skeens as the candidates for Rookie of the Year. Sir, why don't you start us off?
Don't start with me. Technical difficulties.
I went with Paul Skeens here. I did not go with one of the Jacksons. I went with Paul Skeens. I
Yeah,
I what I
the numbers say that a Jackson would win it.
Yeah, yeah, really. And I think part of the reason is I actually almost considered him Cy Young, and then I said, "No, I'd rather see him as Rookie of the Year than a Cy Young." So that's why I went ahead and put him as Rookie of the Year because I'd rather see him in that spot than the Cy Young. So that's the main reason why I picked him as Rookie of the Year for the National League.
I could definitely see why you would pick him because that's my pick as well. Paul Skeens into the league and just no one's guy.
Yes, he did.
He pitched
Exactly.
133 innings went into the year, I believe, too. Still got 133 innings, 170 strikeouts, 11 to 3 losses with a 1.96 ERA. One of the Jacksons, I would say Jackson Merrill, but Paul's Rookie of the Year in my book.
I agree.
Agreed.
Paul Skeens. It's unusual for a pitcher to win a Rookie of the Year, but um, it does happen, has happened, and I agree. And as far as Cy Young, I'd rather I agree with you, Paul, on that too. I'd rather see him win the Rookie of the Year than the Cy Young because, like you said, Al, he did come in and was unhittable. His numbers are phenomenal for a first year guy, and his composure and poise and all that. He didn't look like a rookie out there at all. So
No,
I'm going to go ahead with that as well. Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens.
yeah, and coming for he is a Cy Young finalist as well, but I just he has the innings to back. That's why he wins the Cy Young, and as well as another thing. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So we're all on the Skeens train, and so to the AL Rookie of the Year, we have Colton Cowser, the Orioles, and then we
Mm.
have Sir Luis Gill and Austin Wells with the Yankees as the finalists. So I'll have you kick them off.
So the reason I did the big moo is because that's what they do at the stadium. They having the name Cowser, that everybody just moo whenever he comes up to plate. I'm just thrilled to have him on there. And so I have to go with my good old Cowser, and I would have a hard time picking a Yankee for anything. So when you have, but I'm shocked they're all from the Eastern Division, to be honest. Even though I think the Eastern Division is the best in the American League, I'm still shocked that they didn't pick somebody from somewhere else. But yeah. Cowser, no problem with me.
Mentioning the Eagles real quick. Um, Coming into the season, you guys had a favorite to win Rookie of the Year, and he did not have a great year in Jackson Holiday. What are your
I
thoughts on
know.
him?
I, yeah, I'm afraid they put him on a pedestal before he even had a chance to prove himself, and that's what I think happened. I think they just put him way up on a pedestal. And does he still have the potential to become a great Oriole? Absolutely. But I think he just got put up higher than what he could even hold up to. So I'm not worried about him, but I do think they just put him up way too far. And that's why I'm a little worried about why they do that to people. Some people can handle that. I mean, like LeBron James's, and some people can handle that, but other people just choke and then eventually maybe become what they are predicted to be. But
Fun.
some of this preseason stuff that you predict people to be so awesome and the next goat of that particular, sport just scares me to death. Down here in South Florida, it's like that Messi that happened down in Miami with the soccer. What a joke. I mean, he came here, he was supposed to make all the difference in the world of our soccer forevermore, and it was supposed to become the sport of South Florida. And it's like, you're a joke, buddy. Sorry. I'm glad you're here. Whoopie doo. I'd rather go see the Florida Panthers. So it's like, come on. So I just have a hard time with stuff like that. So
All the
anyway,
soccer fans are wanting your head now.
I know that.
All two that might be watching right now.
Sir, two of your Yankees are in this discussion. I know you do not
Yes,
like
sir.
one of them. What are your
Yep,
thoughts?
two of my are in there. And I'm going with Colton Cowser from the Baltimore Orioles. um, yeah, I mean, that's great. He's Gill did a fantastic job, right? Putting some wins together. And I would be leaning towards that one more, you would think. But I like this kid, Cowser. Um, I think it's fantastic what he has done in the league and for his team. And yeah, I'm going to go with that. Austin Wells.
Why is he on there? It's what I want to know.
I was so glad. I was so glad he finally got a hit in the playoffs. Uh, it, I don't know. It's been tough to watch. Catcher not an easy position and whatnot. But yeah, hands down, Colton Cowser.
The Yankees put Austin Wells in more for his defense than,
I agree.
but
Yeah,
That
I
is
agree.
correct.
I agree.
agreeing with both of you. um, Austin Wells, rookie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Gonna say I'm shutting down right now. I'm literally shutting down.
Luis Gill had a really good rookie year. Obviously, not Paul Skeens level, but I still think a 3.5 ERA beats a 768 OPS. So I'm going to take Luis Gill as Rookie of the Year for the American League. And it will probably end up being Colton Cowser, but my pick is Luis Gill.
I do like the
Yeah,
15 wins from Luis. I do like that.
1 2/3 innings pitched, 3.5 ERA, 171 strikeouts, and 15-7
Yeah,
record.
that is a good rookie year. I will
Yes.
give him that much.
So our next category is Cy Young, and I think in my opinion, I think this is going to be the shortest segment of our show tonight. Um, so for the Cy Young in the American League, we actually have a closer on the list. We have Emmanuel Clase, who had a .61 ERA through 74 and a third innings pitched, 66 strikes, 47 4-2 record. Seth Lugo had a 3 ERA, 206 and 2/3 innings pitched, 181 strikeouts, 16-9 record. And Tariq Skubal had a 2.39 ERA, 192 innings pitched, 228 strikeouts, and 18-4 record. I'm just going to go out and say my pick, Tariq Skubal. He won the Cy Young, or not the Cy Young. He won the Triple Crown for the American League pitching, and that's my pick.
Mine as well. Screwball. I don't see how you can pick anyone else off that group.
In the Triple Crown, there's not much to discuss.
Right.
True.
he
Schoolball.
he led the American League in ERA, strikeouts, and wins. There was another.
Wait, before you move on. Yeah, so I agree. Schoolball, hands down. Emmanuel Clase had a great year, but I'm still like I feel the shakes sometimes with this guy when he comes out on the mound. Like, here we go again. Because I won't forget that that year when he was. I know we don't base things on fantasy, but man, so many times that in that season, this couple of years ago, especially heading down to the final games of the season, including the very last game. Like, no, don't put him out there. What are you doing? Here comes another blow.
I will admit, if he would have had 50 plus saves, I would have thought a little bit more about him. But the 47 saves just wasn't quite enough for me for a Cy Young.
Me the most is he had a 0.61 ERA.
That's amazing. I know.
Yes.
He's in the discussion. It's not the 47 saves; it's the 0.61
Right. I know
ERA
that.
he had.
I know.
To be a finalist, he does. But
Yes.
when you have a Triple Crown winner,
Nope.
that.
Right.
Correct.
I agree.
Moving on
And
to the National League.
for the National League, we have another Triple Crown winner. Last Triple Crown pitching winner we had in baseball, and this year we had one in both leagues. This one hurts.
Yeah.
The nations are Chris Sale, Paul Skeens, and Zach Wheeler. Chris Sale won the Triple Crown. Paul Skeens probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Not enough innings pitched. Otherwise, he probably would have won the Triple Crown if he in the big leagues all year. Rated Chris Sale for a guy who didn't do anything this year. Big leagues for a long time for the Red Sox this year, and it just didn't work. The Red Sox got phenomenal minor league player, and it just hasn't transitioned into the big leagues. Story for another time. Chris Sale's my pick.
Sales well.
Chris Sale. Yeah, and that does hurt because the Red Sox held on to him for so long with the injuries that he battled. I mean, he was great for them, but
won a World Series.
Finally, he won a World Series with them. But to finally get through all the injuries and back to health, and they trade him, and now he's going to win the Cy Young.
I agree with trading him at the time because it was every scenery. Because of the history that Sale had these past few years, he barely pitched at all. The Red Sox were looking at him, and if Vaughn Grissom would have the way he did in the minor leagues, hurt less. He won the Triple Crown this year. Would have hurt less, but he just didn't perform.
Yeah.
The Braves have always seemed to have good pitching through the years. I don't know if it's been their pitching coaches through the years or what it's been, but they've seemed to have always been able to produce great pitching.
The water.
Atlanta Water.
Yeah, Atlanta Water. Yeah, and all that being said, I'm very happy for Chris Sale.
Oh yeah, I'm happy for him too.
And I like seeing good things happen with great guys, and he's one of those guys that's a very nice guy off the field, on the field, and yeah, I'm happy for him.
The jersey incident when he was on the White Sox, do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
He wanted to wear a certain jersey, he didn't want to, so he cut his jersey with scissors or something.
Yeah.
Very weird, but besides that, great guy. And next, the MVPs. So let's start off in the National League. We've been flip-flopping. So the candidates for the National League are Francisco Lindor, Ketel Marte, and Shohei Ohtani.
Cyborg.
Start.
Cyborg. To go with the it's funny. You remember the Bionic Man? I think he was even called $1 Million Man at one point. That's
he was $6 Million Man.
Yeah. Anyway, the Bionic Man. That the Cyborg. I don't know. He must. Shohei Ohtani is the MVP of the National League.
I agree. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani,
50-50 club? 50-50? Really?
50-50 club.
No discussion. He started a whole new thing, 50-50 club. Over 1,000 OPS, over 300 on his average. And he did the 50-50 club and did it in dramatic fashion, too. So, yeah, that's definitely, he's the MVP for the National League.
Not only MVP of the National League, MVP of the MLB, probably MVP of the 2020s right now in baseball. The guy is just the face of baseball. Otani is bringing the sport around the world. I mean, there's literally world fame coming out from him, and now his anybody that's coming from his country, people are like, "Hey, we want him. Hey, we want him." And it's not maybe all because of Otani, but I think it's a big deal. And I mean, now we've got this new pitcher coming, Sasky or however you say his name. That my goodness, man! I mean, every team in baseball is ready to grab the guy,
And
and
he'll
and
probably go to
so
the Dodgers.
yeah, I
No.
know. No, yeah, they're already saying that it's very possible. And I mean, what do you say? I mean, so yeah. And the funny thing is, this is in a year that he didn't even pitch in his MVP. I mean, for crying out loud, he's supposed to be like this ultimate pitcher, and yet he's MVP of a year that he doesn't pitch one pitch. And it's like, wow, what a guy, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's hands down. As much as, again, not even liking the Mets, but as much as Lindor had a great year and did a great job getting the Mets as far as they did, I actually feel sorry for these other two guys, to be honest with you, because you put them against a typical crew of MVPs, they have a good chance, but not this year. You might as well forget it. I mean, you could put Otani up there next to Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle at this point with a 50-50 year. I mean, there's just what do you say?
Same discussion as Mickey Mantle. I think Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani sends there.
Yeah, I mean, it just really, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even look up stats on this one. It was like, oh, yeah, I don't need to look up
Ohtani.
anything really on it.
So for the American League, sir, I'll start off with you. We have Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Bobby Witt Jr.
Well, side with Aaron Judge. His numbers are phenomenal, and he's going to be the pick. Juan Soto does not need to get an MVP right now. That's just going to add another 50 to 100 million to the contract that he's trying to get, and no one needs that. I love what Bobby Witt Jr. did in Kansas City this year, and we had this discussion before we went on air with this. Is are we talking about the one that adds, that has the most value in him, or that adds the most value to their team? Because you can make that argument for Bobby Witt Jr. being MVP for what he did for his team, and where he brought that team this year unexpectedly to the playoffs, and they're building, and there's great value in what he did there. Will that translate over to the MVP award? Probably not. I think it's going to go to Aaron Judge.
Well, time for the arguments. I'm going with Bobby Witt, and let me just lay some foundations here. Um, games played, Witt played 161, Judge played 158, so they're pretty similar. At bats, Witt was 636, Judge was 559. Runs, Witt was 125, Judge was 122. Here's where it starts to make a difference to me. Hits, Witt was 211, Judge was 180. Average, Witt was 332, Judge was 322. Doubles, Witt was 45, Judge was 36. Triples, Witt was 11, Judge was 1. Total bases, remember now, Judge is a home run guy, but total bases, Witt 374, Judge 392. Walks, Witt 57, Judge 133. Strikeouts, Witt 106, Judge 171. Stolen bases, Witt 31, Stolen bases, Judge, 10. Now, I'm not going to bring up because obviously since I'm doing Wit, the slugging percentage is way different. Okay, the slugging percentage for Wit is .588. The slugging percentage for Judge is .701. This is where I'm going to tell you how I'm coming up with Wit as MVP. If it was the bottom of the 10th, you have the automatic guy on second base. Who do you want to come up to bat for the win? If Judge comes up to bat, they're going to walk him and put him on first, just because of what I just said, because he's been walked so many times, 133 compared to 57 for Witt. Witt has 45 doubles, 11 triples. He has 211 hits. You have more potential of Witt getting the guy home than you do Judge. My problem with a slugger is that through the centuries, not centuries, through the decades, a slugger has been either a great over the fence or swinging for the fence. And so they're a strikeout monster. And when it's a man on the automatic second, because that's what they do now in the bottom of the 10th inning, and it's time to win the game, I want somebody like Witt up to the plate, not Judge. Simply because I have a better chance of getting my guy home with a long fly ball, or I mean a long ground ball, or a long fly ball where it needs to be, instead of just trying to swing for the fences. That's the only reason why. Do I think Judge is a great player? Absolutely. But do I think Witt is a better player as far as consistently and altogether? I like the idea of an infielder as an MVP player because they just really see that game. I mean, the outfielders, if they're not careful, can forget how many outs there are. They can forget where they're at in the game. Um, and I just really, really like an infielder as an MVP because they just really get the game. And here's a shortstop guy that is a great bat on top of it. And something I don't know, is Bobby Witt the captain of the team?
I don't think they have a named captain.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. Because I'm not even sure every team has a captain,
I
but
don't think they
I,
do.
I do know that does mean something for Aaron Judge, and I understand that. Okay, I have no problem with that. Um, but I know everyone won't agree with me. But definitely I would pick Bobby Witt over Aaron Judge, and I agree with Juan Soto. Uh, right now, if he gets that, yeah, his number will be astronomical. What he gets now, even though I'm picking Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge will probably get it.
Does
That's my
I don't
pick.
know. That was a very lucid argument you just put forth, and I think that the baseball writers look at things like that. Exact scenario. When it comes to a very important part of the game, who's going to get that hit? They're going to walk Judge. Witt's going to be a guy that's going to get that hit and do something. He's got incredible speed. Um, yeah, you made a very good argument, and I could definitely see it going that way. I like that he's the player that was most valuable to his team to bring them where they were, as opposed to, well, this guy's got the best numbers, so we're just going to give it to him. I like that argument you put forth, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bobby Witt Jr. win that MVP award, but I'm still sticking with the pick of Aaron Judge, but I like Bobby Witt.
Okay. Brace yourself, Paul. Um. So, and this is have multiple baseball writers make their votes, so we can like that. Judge had such a better year to where it will be a landslide victory for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge only 10 points lower in batting average compared to his percentage was.
I have it, but I didn't look at it off the top of my head. No.
Had a 389 on base percentage. Had a 458.
Now
Aaron
that's
Judge
pretty
got
hard to
on.
beat.
Aaron Judge got on almost half the. Was that
Don't
bad?
forget, the on base percentage does count walks, does it not?
Walks, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, the guy got walked a huge amount of times
He
compared
got the
to.
Bears treatment.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly right.
His OPS, it was granted. He had a 1.159 OPS. That is unheard of. Base percentage. I think Judge wins it. I see what you're saying for Bobby Witt, and I agree with some of what you said, but it's
Likewise.
Aaron Judge's MVP. Do a little something fun here because I just thought of it and I didn't think of it earlier. Through our picks, if it was one guy, one NL, one MLB guy.
Oh, wow.
Back how we did it. Manager of the Quatraro, Vogue, Mendoza, Murphy, and Schilt. Yeah, one out of those 6.
Well, don't trying to pull it back up.
Or do you want me to?
I'm going Mendoza. I'm going Mendoza because of the tremendous change in the Mets this year and how far he got them into the postseason.
Mets weren't supposed to be a playoff team, and they didn't
Exactly.
have the White Sox factor. I'm going as well. The Carlos Mencia.
Same, Mendoza.
Rookie of the year, we have Colton Cowser, Luis Gill, Austin Wells, Jackson Cherry, Jackson Merrill, and Paul Skeens.
Cowser.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I have to say Paul Skeens. As much as I love my Orioles, Paul Skeens made too much of a difference. I mean, if the guy is even a finalist in the Cy Young as well as Rookie of the Year, and actually just because he didn't have enough innings is the only reason he's not a Triple Crown, how in the world can I not say Paul Skeens would be the Rookie of the Year for the whole MLB?
It's Paul Skeens. 6 ERA and 133 innings pitched. For Rookie of the Year of the league. Cy Young. All of our answers same for this one. It was Therese Skubal and Chris Sale. And to pick just innings. Strikeouts.
Wow, you talk about a toss-up.
Both won the Triple Crown.
I know, and
they were in the same league, neither of them would win a Triple Crown by .001 of an ERA.
The other thing that I'm thinking of here is both of them were in a very tight division at the end, and so it just wow. I mean, you talk about mirrored people that were just in the separate leagues.
The decision maker for me was Chris Sale had 177 and 2/3 innings pitched, and Tariq Skubal had 192 innings pitched. Otherwise,
I mean, their ERA is literally .01 different. Their innings pitched is just 20 something. Their strikeouts is 3 different. Their win loss is 1 different of loss. It's like how much more mirror can you get? Good night. I have to say that the American League Central Division is harder, so I'm going to go with Skubal just because of that. That's the only reason why I would say it.
Skubal for all those same reasons. It's a toss-up. I want to go Chris Sale because
I do too.
I met the guy, and whatever. I love the way he pitches, and I'm going to go with my heart on that one, Chris Sale, because there's something about just the way he pitches, his and the comeback story. That after all the injuries and everything else, what an amazing year. I'm going to go with Chris Sale
for that pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Baseball writers are probably going to go Skubal, but I like Chris Sale.
BP?
Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Factor for me. Okay, like stolen, they get to the game of baseball, but when looking at these stats side by side, here.
I am so tempted just to flip my stinking computer down right now. Just flip it down.
58 on base percentage. 90. Also, in OPS had over 100 points higher.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to take that if there was only one league MVP. Yeah, Aaron Judge. Just like I said.
Okay, but Yeah, yeah, I love the way you do that. You know what this reminds me of? This is what Howard Cosell used to do with Muhammad Ali. You know, oh, I knew he was going to win the whole time, and yet during the fight, he would be like, "This is really looking bad for Muhammad Ali." You know, but anyway, I oh, so I still have to say, would Aaron Judge have been as good as he was if it wasn't for Juan Soto in the first place? And who
Shohei
can you
Ohtani
say
be
helped
as good
Ohtani?
without Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts? What other ends are on that team?
Well, yeah, but now you're adding a bunch of people. Over on the other side, you're only adding one other person, and he's the other guy that's on that MVP list. So what I'm saying is, yeah, I agree. Dodgers have a bigger amount of all-stars on their team. I mean, to me, the Yankees should have been better than they were, okay? Than they ended up, period. The Dodgers were just amazing, period, from beginning to end, but they should be. And that's why boy, yeah, I still have to go with Otani, even though I do understand what you're saying. I really, one of the reasons I don't like Otani for MVP of the year is because of DH. That's terrible. I mean, a DH should not be the MVP. That is an awful thing, because you're not even out in the field for pity's sake. Um, so I do have a problem with that aspect of it. I still think he is part of MVP, in my opinion, whether we like it or not, is also off the field, and the man has totally brought baseball back to the world, whether we like it or not.
Is on the field. He has brought all of this Japanese viewership. I understand that does not account for award races, though. So that's what MVP stands for: most valuable player on the field.
And this portion of our broadcast, I 5 hour energy drink. 5 hour energy.
Yeah.
Sponsor us. Please go down.
All right. Since we've talked about other sports, I want to bring up two more other sports. Pro football this weekend has some amazing games going on. Commanders at the Eagles, Ravens at the Steelers, Chiefs at the Bills. Those three games are probably the three headline games of the year. Okay. In college football, probably the game of the week, at least, if not of at least this part of the year, is Tennessee at Georgia, which should be an amazing game. And I'm not making predictions here because I'm not into that part of it. But I just wanted to bring up that if you're into any of those types of sports, those are some good games that you might want to check out this weekend.
Tonight, Bulls defeated the Commanders 26-18.
Oh, I didn't know it was tonight. Oh, yay. Anything to
Yeah,
beat those Commanders.
while we were busy podcasting, that game was going on.
Cool
That's actually
beans.
true. That's
The
actually true.
Eagles already won.
Uh,
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. We are on YouTube as you are watching, and we are also on
Comment below.
and TikTok. Go give us a follow and thumbs up, likes, comments, and we will see you next.
See ya.